What Rhode and Justin Bieber just did at Coachella is exactly why most skincare brands don't grow. Not because their product is bad, not because their branding isn't pretty enough, but because they completely missed the moment where people are actually ready to buy. And once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. I run a branding and design agency where we work specifically with skincare brands, and I've seen what actually moves the needle when it comes to growth and what doesn't. Brands invest heavily in formulation, ingredients, efficiency, making the product better. They focus so much on what's inside the bottle, but they don't invest at the same level in how it's positioned and how it shows up visually. And then they struggle to convert. Not because the product isn't good, but because a great product without the right strategy and visuals behind it will only take you so far. The brands that actually grow understand that design and strategy have to work together. And that's exactly what Rhode did. And most brands still don't get it. So what actually just happened? Hailey Bieber's skincare brand Rhode just launched their first ever collaboration with her husband Justin Bieber called Spotwear, Rhode and the Biebers. These are pimple patches in 5 festival-inspired shapes debuted at an invite-only Rhode activation at Coachella. The same weekend, Justin headlined for the first time. The product dropped publicly on April 13th, and the whole thing looked effortless, but it actually wasn't. So Rhode showed up at one of the most high-attention cultural events of the year. Cameras everywhere, social media already watching, millions of people documenting outfits, routines, what they're using, how they look. And Rhode was there, under eye patches, pimple patches, minimal branding, clean aesthetics, very on brand, an invite-only activation with an arcade game, a balloon station, a banana-inspired drink bar tied to their newly product, and Hailey was there in person. Fans calling her our first lady of Coachella. It didn't feel like marketing, it felt natural. Like, of course, Rhode was there, of course it would be there. And that's exactly why it worked. And most people look at something like this and say, that's influencer marketing or that's celebrity marketing. Yeah, it is. But it's also alignment between product positioning and environment. So think about the environment Rhode stepped into. People are tired, dehydrated, their skin is irritated, they've been in the sun all day, they don't look their best. And look at what Rhode sells: hydration, glow, skin recovery. Instead of trying to convince people they need a product, they showed up exactly where the need already existed. They didn't create demand, they stepped into it. And that is a completely different strategy. That's what most skincare brands miss. They try to force demand through content. They try to educate, explain, convince, but people don't want to be convinced. They want to feel like the product just makes sense in their life. Rhode made sense in that moment without saying a word because the visuals were already strong enough to do the talking. They just needed to be in the right place. And more specifically, look at the products they pushed: under eye patches, pimple patches. Those are not random. Justin Bieber has been publicly associated with acne and even photographed wearing pimple patches over the years. So this wasn't just product placement. It was culturally and personally relevant. And that's exactly the level of clarity most skincare brands are missing. Most skincare brands are posting content every day, running ads, and consistently talking about ingredients, benefits, and formulation. And none of that is wrong, but it's incomplete because they're focused on marketing without having a brand that's actually built to support it. So what ends up happening is they're showing up at the wrong time in the wrong place to people who are not in the right mindset. And then they wonder why it's not converting. It's not just about having good visuals, and it's not just about pushing marketing harder. It's about having a brand that's strategically built to show up in the right moment and actually make sense to the customer. Rhode didn't wait for the perfect campaign or try to overproduce everything. They showed up inside the real moment with a brand that was already aligned and built to perform in that context. They moved fast, because moments expire, attention shifts, and most brands are just too slow to catch it. So if you're watching this and you have a skincare brand and you feel like you're doing everything right, but it's still not converting, this is actually the missing piece. Your strategy and your visuals are not fully aligned. If you want help with that, you can reach out through the link in the description or visit AVENTIVEstudio.com. Now, yes, Rhode has distribution advantages most brands don't have. It is a celebrity brand. But if you take one thing from this, you need to deeply understand your target audience and build a brand strategy around them, and then create visuals that actually support that strategy. So what do you actually do with this if you don't have a massive platform or a high-profile event? You need one thing: awareness of where your customer is already experiencing the problem your product solves, and a brand that's built visually and strategically to show up there with confidence. So for skincare, those moments are honestly everywhere. After workouts, during travel, summer heat, morning routines, late nights, after sun exposure, flights, events. These are all high tent moments. And instead of creating content in isolation, you place your brand inside those moments. You show it being used there. You design for those environments. You speak to that exact situation. That's how your brand starts to feel relevant, not forced, not like an ad, just obvious. And when something feels obvious, people trust it faster. And when people trust it faster, they buy faster. And you know, in my design agency, a lot of skincare clients are obsessed with looking premium, which makes sense, but we don't want them to be invisible. We don't want them to be disconnected from real behavior, because while we can design, we're not designing in isolation, and we're not marketing in isolation either. The goal is to have something that actually performs in the real world. Rhode is not winning because their branding is minimal. They are winning because their visuals and their strategy work as one. The design is intentional and built on the brand strategy. The placement is intentional. The timing is intentional. Everything is connected and cohesive. And until you have that, you'll keep creating content that looks good but doesn't actually do anything. And this is something I say to my clients all the time. We're not creating just a logo or just packaging or just defining a target audience or just building a website. We build all of it together cohesively so the brand actually works. The point is, stop thinking about visuals and strategy as two separate investments. They only work when they're built together to show up in the right place at the right time for the right person. So if you're trying to grow a skincare brand and actually increase sales, not just make things look better, reach out through the link below or visit AVENTIVEstudio.com. We would love to work with you. And I'm curious, after watching this, what do you think is holding your brand back right now? Is it your strategy, your visuals, or both? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you found this helpful, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.